Position Paper Part C. Recommendations. You don't get to choose which laws you cops want to enforce any more than we civilians can cherry pick which laws we want to follow. That being said, the solution tends to be around control for your municipalities and the law enforcement they hire to protect them. When it comes to weed, they've already lost control by evidence of its spread in southeastern Michigan in particular. In 2009, there were some 60 to 70 known cannabis businesses. In 2010, it jumped exponentially to over 700, a tenfold increase. 2011's half over, but only forecast to show a fivefold increase in growth due to both pending ultimate state Supreme Court cases and scare tactics on the sheriff's side. Harborside Health Clinic in San Jose, California, is recognized as a model of how modern marijuana dispensaries should operate, according to High Times Medical Marijuana Magazine, Winter 2011, page 64. That's irrelevant because Michigan does not have dispensaries in their language. Currently, I recommend the Fed's surprise visit some of these one-stop shops that exist. The certification, caregiver, match the medicine supply, hydroponic grow room suppliers, vaporizer purchases, which are constantly in conflict with the law. When doctors are certifying patients in one room, while in another room at the same address, marijuana is being sold. It's illegal. That's why doctors don't have offices inside pharmacies. Here, the MACC in Michigan, the Association of Compassion Clubs, formed to lobby and defend dispensaries against the police. But there's no effect on these stubborn stoners who think they have the right to sell to anyone and everyone anytime. Whereas they know the law was written like it is to prostitution, a one-on-one transaction behind closed doors. That is no one else's business. Yet the delivery dispensaries and compassion clubs grow with impunity. I recommend a job-creating, state-sponsored grow-op with contributions from only the best growers as far as cultivation goes, and they can all apply during this next year, which will be a grace period between the expiration of this current law and the adaptation of the new proposed law. This can help to prevent felons like James Chainsaw, who can run the Liberty Clinic in Ann Arbor while simultaneously, allegedly, smuggling cocaine. I recommend a formally regulated umbrella group to overhaul the compassion clubs and dispensaries and delivery dispensaries into government-run pot stores, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. In the interim, I recommend the DEA and CETA and OCNet all continue to investigate delivery dispensaries in particular, which operate completely in the shadows, rarely answering calls and switching responsive seemingly by the call surveillance. I recommend to regulate head shops, also known as delivery device resellers, like party stores are overseen. If the establishment is a one-stop shop, multiple regulations will bombard it, ensuring fair business practices for consumers and protection for patients. Head shops have been around a long time, so these owners must be magicians at resolving things with the police, the church groups, parents, and principals of nearby schools. So they're already pretty well regulated. I just hope they'll sell more locally blown Michigan glass, like Puff Daddy makes, versus Chinese janky garbage. I mean, how can you open in Michigan and sell that junk? I recommend county enforcers will be created to insert a plan into the various grow schools, which enumerate many complaints such as overselling products with high profit margins, ineffective instruction which leads to crop failures, and possibly the worst offender, the Medical Marijuana Academy in Commerce Township, which is promoting an illegal scholarship program. Is this an accredited school in the state of Michigan? I recommend a solution be afforded to determine local weights of cannabis in solids, medibles, oils, etc. The distribution device shouldn't count as contraband itself. I recommend surprise visits by IRS agents to any group advertising you can make over $10,000 per year, which by law must be reported to the agency as miscellaneous income. In particular, the MMA Academy, Marijuana for Life, and Amy's World. What is my advice to not get a knock at your door? Avoid dispensaries, compassion clubs, medicinal meetings, and events. Do not advertise in newspapers, which are dead anyways, radio, TV, internet, books, movies, billboards, etc. Stay local and use word of mouth. If you patronize a dispensary or anything similar that has your card number and information, quit the club and ask them to delete your info from their hard drives. If they refuse, tell them you will sue them if they get raided and forfeit your private MDCH information to the feds or a task force. According to AARP magazine of July of 2010, valerian is a sedative and sleep aid. Peppermint will help you in indigestion. Everything doesn't have to be about pot. Alternatively, we can amend the language to specifically address storefront dispensaries within the proper zoning framework, so that communities can choose to patronize or not one particular side of town. I have such a system in mind. Coming next is that proposal. It begins with the big giveaway. Patients can possess 24 ounces.